Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Today is going to be a relatively short video because, as I promised, I'm going to announce the winners of the Limerick contest. Before I get there, I want to take the moment to thank everybody who contributed, both in terms of contributing limericks, because they all made me laugh, and people who took the time to vote. Although, I got to be honest, there weren't very many of you. It would be nice if more people had voted, but maybe I didn't make the time frame clear. I just kind of felt like we ought to get these folks an answer fairly quickly. So, at any rate, I have tallied the votes, and in no particular order, let's take a look at the three top limericks. Here is limerick number 9, which was, "To Vietnam she tried to travel, to escape the knock of a gavel. With plans still to be done, she phoned up her son, causing her plan to unravel," which I still think is a pretty funny limerick. And this was limerick 4. "There once was a lawyer called Tony who showed us how Donna was phony. She crafted a plan to get rid of Dan, and now she is eating bologna." Another very well done limerick. And then the third in the series here, "The Adelsons spawned a plot, masterminds they surely were not. They killed Dan, a good man, according to plan. Now in prison forever they'll rot." So I thought that was also a really good limerick, and apparently all of you did too. Now I want to emphasize that the rest of them were terrific as well, and I'm not going to put them up here because, for one thing, YouTube doesn't like to see recycled content. I like to keep the good folks at YouTube happy, so I'm not going to do that. But all of them were good, and hang in there. We'll do another contest, and you'll get another shot at it. Now, when it came time to tally up the votes, I used the old tried and true method of going through and making a little tick mark, and when you got to 4 and then you took 5 and went across, you know how that works. And so I got a count for each of them, and here is the table and the chart that shows how the votes went. Limerick number 1 and limerick number 4 both got the same number of votes, 5, so there is a tie for runner-up, and I will just send books to both of them since that's the fair thing to do. Limerick number 4 was voted heads and tails above all the rest of them, came in with 8 votes, and so that's going to be my number 1. I will get the books out as soon as possible. I have to order them from Amazon because, a really smart person would have ordered them before he did this contest, but I have to take a bunch of them with me to another place in a few weeks, so this works out pretty well. I will order the books, and I should have your emails, and I will email the winners. But in the event that I don't, please email me your address so that I can get you a copy of the book. I want to say thank you to everybody who participated in this, both as a limerick author, as well as somebody who voted, or even just somebody who enjoyed the limericks. I thought they were all pretty clever. And it would have been hard for me to have judged all of these and come up with a winner. I probably wouldn't have chosen the one that actually won, just because mentioning my name in it kind of made it seem like self-praise, and I'm not a big fan of self-praise, but I appreciated the intent of the author, and I thank them for that. And it did, Tony and Baloney have excuse me. Tony and Baloney have rhymed since I was about that tall, I think. In fact, a lot of times in school, they called me Tony Baloney. Maybe that's where I picked up the Tony Two Toes thing, At any rate, I did find I think the public have spoken, and that's the winner. I want you to know it was not self-promotion. I'd be happy to turn over the sheet to the people who want to total the votes to see if I got this right, but I did get this right. Trust me on that. It is a tragedy what happened to the Adelson family. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that with this limerick contest, which is really about the ridiculous nature of how Donna Adelson got caught. I want to make sure everybody understands I'm not making fun of that tragedy, because it truly was a tragedy for the entire family. I know there are many people out there who believe firmly that Wendy Adelson is part of this conspiracy and is guilty. But if you step back for a moment and consider that there is a possibility that she is not part of the conspiracy, and that as a result of this, her children lost their father, it's a tragedy for her too. And of course, if she participated in this evil act, then that's even a greater tragedy for her, because it shows a loss of a certain portion of a person's soul when they engage in acts like this that cause the death of another person. And so I do think that we all ought to be praying for Wendy and the Adelson children, and for the prosecutors in this case, and for justice. And of course, especially for Dan Markel's family, because they have had a very long, very hard road to get to justice in this case. And I think that's an important thing, that we recognize the suffering and the sacrifice and the things that I don't think any of us would feel very good about having to suffer ourselves. I have a couple of interesting videos coming. One of them on a Supreme Court case that is, it's really kind of hard that kind of hard to believe that the case actually made it to the Supreme Court, just because the decision in the court below is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And I have other videos that I'm working on that contain some pretty interesting stuff too. Those will come out in a couple of days. But until they do, let me offer this suggestion. This is the time of year when people want to celebrate, and every religion has holidays, but the Jewish religion and the Christian religion all celebrate at around the same time. The Jews celebrate Hanukkah, and the Christians celebrate Christmas. And one of the things that occurs whenever there's a celebration is there's lots of food. And the one problem for a lot of people right now is that they just don't have the money to have a giant celebration. Instead of having that big ham sitting on the Christmas dinner table, they're liable to have a couple of cans of Spam warmed up over sterno. And that's because there are people who are homeless, and there are people who are underemployed and barely scraping by. Those people depend on our food pantries and food banks, on our churches and other outreach organizations to get them through this most difficult time of the year. And if we believe in the power of prayer, and I certainly do, then I believe that sometimes we have to be the answer to other people's prayers. So we donate every year to the food bank. We basically turn over a lot of things that we bought 6 or 7 months ago that we decided we really probably didn't want to use or didn't like. We tried one of them and didn't like them. And so we've donated a lot of those kinds of canned goods and dry goods to our food bank. Plus, we've donated, in the financial way as well. And that kind of thing winds up being one of those acts that will come back to you in good time. And I truly believe that. So if you have the opportunity, if you are not struggling financially, if you are not at the end of your rope financially, I read somewhere the other day that most Americans are an unexpected $400 repair bill away from bankruptcy. Think about that. That indicates a pretty bad economy right now. And at this time of year, And another thing that happens at this time of year, you see a lot of layoffs. Companies decide they have to make the books look good, so they lay people off. It's terrible, it's cruel, but it does happen. And that's one of the reasons why churches and food banks and other safety nets are out there to help catch people that might not otherwise get caught and help them through this very difficult time of the year. So if you get that opportunity, if you have that opportunity, please take advantage of it and do something nice for someone in that way. You know, I'm always telling you to try to be kind and to do kind things for people. That is an awesome way to do kind things for people. Again, thank you for participating in the contest. Thanks for watching this video. Have an absolutely marvelous day, and catch me down here at the beach again next time.
If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.